And now, Gimmick Infringement.
Welcome, everybody, to the Gimmick Infringement Podcast. I am Brad Winchester, and with me, as always, is my tag team partner, Tyler McDowell Blank. And Tyler, it is Sunday. We have been speaking for, 3+ hours, and now we're getting into it. I'm really excited. So happy to see you. How you doing?
Yeah, there's a lot to catch up on. You know how we do. I wonder, would it make sense? Does the audience want us to release a blooper reel of sorts? What if we just recorded from when we hop on this call together?
Yeah.
Because that would be like a 4-hour extravaganza. We would have to chop that up, and maybe something to think about.
Maybe in the summer.
Maybe in the summer. Yes, this is true. I'm doing well, man. It's great to see you. You and I caught up on each other's weeks. School is just schooling. It's a dynamic time for sure. But all is well. I know we're going to get into a lot today. Pop culture, pro wrestling. I'm sure we'll have some family talk as well. But I am doing well. I am so happy to see you. Fill us in. What is going on in Marana, Arizona these days?
What I'm legally allowed to talk about is lots of really great things are happening at Marana High School. We are making cool stuff happen in the theater space. We are learning a whole bunch of new ways to do productions, having a lot of fun, working really late hours, working really hard. I pulled like a 12-hour day yesterday at the theater, almost 12 hours. And I did something I've never done before, which is cool. I've never painted the inside of an air vent, but I got to do it yesterday. And it was a huge improvement for if you're like, I don't understand why you would do that. The outside surface of the front of the stage apron, the lower part that the audience can see below the stage, was just concrete and bare concrete. So we painted it black last summer because I always thought, like, why would you have this giant, bright, reflective surface right in the front? Doesn't make any sense. So we painted it black. Looks infinitely better. We didn't consider inside of the vents. We're still bare concrete. So black front, turn off the lights, hit it with stage lights, and suddenly it's glowing on the inside of the vent. So we got in there yesterday and painted the whole thing, and now it looks great. Yeah, I mean, it's such a simple little upgrade that took, hours to complete, but a very, very important one. I also got to play with my paint sprayer I bought like 6 months ago and never got to use. So I also learned that water-based paint does in fact wash out of your hair. So that's exciting. One other thing happened this week. Unfortunately, one of my former students, Adriana Encinas, she lost her battle with brain cancer, and thinking of her and her family, Josh, her husband, who was also a former student of mine, her close circle of friends, most of them I had come through my class at some point. There's a GoFundMe out there for them, for Josh, the 3 kids, for funeral and medical expenses, for just trying to stay on their feet and try to get set as they plow through this unimaginable loss and figure out what the next steps are. Josh is a really good husband and father. Dude works so hard for his family. Really proud of him and proud of her and her just tenacity. This was not a short battle. This was a 7-year battle, and it took a toll. And she remained as positive as you could possibly remain in a situation like that. She's great. If you want to find it, you can go to GoFundMe and search support for Adry's family in their time of loss. Adry is ADRY and apostrophe S. Support for Adry's family in their time of loss is the name of their campaign. If you search for that, it'll be in Arizona, but like Marana, more specifically. We'll try to link it in the episode description this week too. And if you have the means to support, it would be going to a really good cause and a really great family, and support people I care about and the community cares about a great deal. Turns out they live a couple of blocks down from me, and I didn't know that until not that long ago, it feels like, but time, who knows? That could have been last year. I have no idea. Time is so crazy, Tyler. Like I didn't expect to have a 3-hour conversation in the production meeting today, but here we are. Blessed to know these people, even in their time of loss, just blessed to have them part of my life. Really grateful for them, grateful for you, grateful for GI, grateful for the listeners for tuning in. So please, if you can, support that family.
Yeah. Well, thank you for letting us know, my friend. Obviously, thinking of Adry's family, thinking of you, thinking of all that are affected during this incredibly difficult time. Man, life is too short. Sometimes
Yeah.
it feels really unfair when we
Yeah.
lose anyone, but especially the great ones.
Yeah, absolutely. I'll be rocking her in support of T on Monday. Um,
Awesome.
people always go like, "Hey, what's that about?" Then I'm always happy to
Wow.
share
Her
what it's
impact,
about.
yeah.
Yeah.
Her
Yeah, it's
impact,
really
her
cool.
legacy lives on. That's beautiful.
Yeah, yeah. She such a great like sense of humor and smile. Things would get really frustrating or difficult at school, and she'd still find a way to laugh through it and
Wow.
have a good time.
Wow.
Obviously, she wasn't sick the way she was when I had her. I don't remember her ever being sick. She just was a teenager that would have teenager problems and would encounter them with a smile and a laugh and grace. And I always appreciated that about her. Look at me giving her flowers. And I know we're not going to do gratitude here. That's gratitude I'm expressing, but we are going to do something here with flowers. And it's not just the Bachelor. Tyler has a hot take tie for us. It is the White Lotus. I almost said the Light Lotus, the White Lotus edition of Hot Take Tie. Well said by me. Play the music.
And now it's time for Hot Take Tie. Spicy.
Yeah, very, very well said by you there. Okay, and now I need to make sure I don't mess it up. Brad Winchester, I have a hot take for you. It stems around The White Lotus. I'm going to get right into it. It's the best streaming series available today. Unquestionably, I will hear no arguments. This is just fact. We're recording on Sunday, February 16th. Season 3 kicks off tonight on Max. Now, each season is set in a new location. It's set at this fictional the White Lotus Resort, very upscale, bougie hotel, if you will. And so they're welcoming...
Great cast.
Yeah, right. They're welcoming tourists from around the world. And really the beauty of this is that you don't have to have seen any of season 1 or season 2. It's helpful for contextual sake, but because it's a new location, it's a new White Lotus every season, you can join me and just jump in to this one. Very quickly, there's lush scenery, there's memorable characters, and always a mysterious murder to kick off each season premiere. And then over the course of the season, we learn more clues before the eventual unveiling of what really happened by the season finale. It's listed as a dark comedy. I would also argue that it's murder mystery in many ways.
Sure.
Which I know you and I both have
a
lot of
Knives Out.
Yeah.
Murder mystery, but a comedy.
Totally.
Yeah.
It's really operating in that genre. I am pumped for season 3. It's set in Thailand, if I didn't mention that already. And amongst other great cast members, it stars Natasha Rothwell from Insecure fame and many other projects. Jennifer Coolidge was a standout in season 1 and season 2. They've had Audrey Plaza. They've had a bunch of different people. Brad, it's the best streaming series today. And I'm very excited for this new season to kick off.
All right, I'll have to check it out. Like I like that genre.
Sydney Sweeney popped up. It was a launching point
wow.
for the great Sydney Sweeney.
That's cool. I didn't realize that. I thought that was all Euphoria for her.
Euphoria definitely was on another level, but she also did great in White Lotus. I'm eager to see if any cast members this season, many of whom I'm not super familiar with. I wonder if it's going to be a launching point for some new stars.
That's awesome. Yeah, because I love being murder mystery. That's why I love Only Murders in the Building. It's
yes, that's right.
It's silly. It's a comedy, but it's a murder mystery. I don't know if you've caught any eps yet, but the first season's really, really good, but it's really takes off in the second, third seasons. So really cool to know that there's another one out there. HBO or Max or whatever we're calling it, whatever Warner Brothers entity is making shows, seems to do a really good job with mystery programming, like True Detective and things like that. So excited to check it out. I'm still sad that Lovecraft got canceled because that show was really great. Lovecraft County or Country. I can never remember which one it is.
Yeah, Lovecraft Country. It was that show, the best way I can summarize it, it was an experience.
Yes.
It wasn't even just a show to me. It was just a completely different experience. I thought it was great.
Yeah, I'm always looking for surprise, right? Like, oh, that's different.
It was very different. Yeah,
I watched.
They took some chances for sure.
Netflix has a couple of really good, like randomly really good foreign horror movies or series.
We're going to talk about Netflix later, as a matter
that
of
are
fact,
on there.
too.
I know that's why I was on my mind, because when I went to check it out, I was like, I think I know which one this is, and then I saw it and went, yeah, I know which one this is. I haven't watched it, but I saw it. It like Trolls. If you haven't seen Trolls, great movie. Or Troll or Trolls, one of them, singular, plural. I don't know.
I'll take both.
It's great. It's what it sounds like. There are trolls.
Expectations. Yeah,
but it's really good. It sounds like it would be terrible, and it's really good. There's a couple of them where I don't like that are like, wow, this is incredible, actually. Godzilla like or whatever. Or a found footage movie. There's some really cool content out there. And there's so much of it now that it's hard to find it all. So thank you for pointing out White Lotus. I have heard about this show before. I've never actually committed to watching it. It's kind of like Succession. I've heard so much about it, and I'm like, well, I'm not going to watch that. I have too many other things I got to watch that I want to watch. That, I want to go check out Captain America. I would have rather had it been this weekend, but I brought it up and it got met with I'm not sure if Frey is going to do well with that. And I was like, just say you don't want to go. Just say the words so I can make plans to go. Say you don't want to go. So I might make it a point to make it a day for rodeo where we go and watch it. I think Freya's going to like it. Freya wouldn't watch Spider-Man No Way Home with us. And if she can handle Willem Dafoe murdering Aunt May, she can handle this. Anyway. Yeah. Anyway.
Very compelling case. I have no argument.
Speaking of people getting murdered on our screens, let's talk about the WWE this week. I'm excited to ask you my question, but we're gonna lead off with yours, my friend.
That makes two of us. Okay, so NXT Vengeance Day featured memorable finishes, surprise beatdowns, and the promise of new signee Ricky Starks. By the way, Ricky Starks in WWE, appearing live on Tuesday to officially sign a contract with said company. Also, perhaps this was Roxanne Perez's swan song in NXT.
Might be. If she showed up on Raw.
What a run. Starting out, believe it or not, with you remember the NXT 2.0 debut. And if this is in fact it for Roxanne, which I certainly think,
Roxy has been signed to NXT.
Yeah, which I certainly foresee it is. Just what a magnificent run. And it's one of those cases where someone's gimmick or their moniker totally matches who they really are. She is known as the Prodigy.
Yeah.
And my goodness, before the age of 25, being so skilled at what she does. And to think this is the worst she'll ever be. She's only going to get better from here, Brad.
Yeah.
I can't wait. Big Roxanne Perez fan. Okay, but here we go. I want to ask you about the final scene from the show. New North American champion, Stephanie Vaquer. This is the Steph Watch part of this episode. And women's champion, Giulia, shared the ring, posing for fans as they stood triumphant with gold. Insert the siren. The juggernaut Jordynne Grace came out. She stared down both women, and the show went off the air. My question for you. How amazing are these three? And where do you hope this all goes as we approach Stand and Deliver?
I don't know. I don't know where this goes. Jordynne Grace, I guess if we're going to go like who's most likely to get called up first, feels like Jordynne Grace.
Agreed.
However, kind of also feels like Stephanie. So Stephanie Vaquer feels like a no-brainer to put on the main roster. You could have put her there the first day she got there. Giulia, now that she's there, feels like, yeah, she's probably right where she should be for the time being until she can grow her promo skills and stuff like that and work that WWE style. Cause like, I love it because every time I watch her, I'm like, oh, cool. This is like Japan Giulia. But Stephanie Vaquer is somewhere between like working a strong style luchador. I don't even know how to describe her style. Ouch is a good way to describe it. Everything she does looks real, authentic, and painful. I also think it is every time. So I don't know if
she's
that's
really
true,
connected with the audience.
And that's
you can tell. Granted,
she had the
luxury. She had the luxury of being in a one-on-one match versus a fatal four-way. but you could tell that audience in DC was just all about her. She's really connected in a way
Yeah.
that I'm not even sure I expected. You know, I've been about Stephanie Vaquer since
Yeah.
Forbidden Door,
Yeah.
but clearly I'm not alone. I think she has been an absolute success story for NXT.
I think so too. I'm going to finish wiping the water off my face. I took a drink and it just sloshed into my face.
I was going to ask you what was happening over there. I was getting into my Steph bag. I
just a
missed
little
what
sip
actually
right there,
what's
and
going on in Miranda.
this thing's just my drink's getting its shit in
Yeah,
this match between my thirst and the beverage inside that cup. Terrible by me. Man, I have no idea where this goes, but it does make sense to have a North American audience connect with the Latin talent more than the Japanese talent or the newly from TNA talent. Even though Jordynne Grace is already beloved, but I also think that the pop that Stephanie got walking out to the Rumble was a good indication of where sort of the national regularly watching WWE audience is in terms of wanting to see more Stephanie. Both of them going up immediately would be awesome. Otherwise, I could see them going like, all right, Jordynne Grace wants gold. There's no singles gold available on that brand that's not being held by those other two. So I'm not sure what happens there. Maybe they combine the titles. That seems like a bad idea. Unify the titles to split them for some other newly named title seems pointless. It's just, I don't know. It seems like NXT is just WCW. Not in terms of booking, but it's like literally the WCW titles are in NXT and so are the WCW pay-per-views. So mixed in with some older WWF pay-per-views. I just, what happened in that era that they could possibly lean into to do that would involve these three talent. I have no idea where this goes. That's really exciting because everybody seems like they could be competing for the Raw or SmackDown championships. So the world champion and the universal champion, whatever. I don't even remember what we're calling those things now. Or even some of the mid-card titles, like the US or international, my God, intercontinental championships. I could see that for any of those women. But one of them's got to lose to get called up. And if Jordynne Grace is there to take a belt off somebody, I feel like it's Stephanie. So I can see all kinds of different things happening. Do you make Jordynne then a heel? Like what? I don't know. I don't know what's going to happen. I could see them all teaming together for a little while and taking on a bunch of heels in the company that are like, well, we want to go after Giulia's gold or Stephanie's gold. And they're getting beat down by three people and Jordynne comes out. And then that could be a lot of fun because who's beating that trio? Exactly. I put them up against anybody.
Yeah, for real. I think back to that 5-on-5 women's match they had at the ECW arena during one of the NXT Tuesdays. Gosh, I think this is maybe going back to October or November. It's been a minute now. Part of why I enjoyed Vengeance Day and why I thought it was a huge success for NXT is that the brand, we were talking about identity and brand identity and during a recent episode, NXT's brand identity to me is very clear. It starts with, we have an amazing women's division. And so you open the show with Fallon Henley versus Stephanie Vaquer, crowning moment for Steph. And then you end the show with that women's fatal four-way. And granted, you brought Bayley, NXT alum on the main roster, but Cora Jade, Roxanne Perez, Giulia, your champ. And not only do you have this killer match, but then you close the show with, okay, here are our new champs. Here are the faces of the women's division, Steph and Giulia. And then, by the way, we also have the juggernaut Jordynne Grace. She's here too. I thought it was a brilliant move. I think Jordynne Grace is here to face Giulia at Stand and Deliver and then go to the main roster. I don't think Jordynne Grace is going to spend an extended period here. To your point, Brad, I think Giulia needs to be in NXT and needs to develop that character and find her footing with the audience. I think Jordynne Grace can come in. She can have a great bout with Giulia, lose, and then we'll see her pop up on Mondays or Fridays and be just fine. Let's keep in mind, she lost to Roxanne Perez back when they had that title match. And we didn't think twice about it. Roxanne Perez is great. Giulia's great. Sometimes you just lose to other great competitors and you move forward. For Steph, the roster is so loaded in NXT. And in my mind, in my estimation, that NXT North American Women's Championship can be used to elevate talent. So I see her eventual feud being against, say, a Sol Ruka or a Zarya or a Jada Parker. Lola Vice gave her major side eye the other week in a backstage segment. That was kind of a part you could only see if you really paid attention. So I think there's just a slew of challengers for Steph to take on, again, because NXT is all about the women. Oba Femi, also great. Actually really enjoyed his triple threat match at Vengeance Day. But this was great. I thought Vengeance Day, again, was a massive success, in part because NXT knows their identity and they're leaning into it. And my goodness, are all of these performers so incredibly special.
What do you think about one of them appearing as the 6th member of the Elimination Chamber match?
Oh, wow. Yeah. Yeah, that would be good. That would be awesome.
Like, I couldn't remember who all was in it. I thought there were 5, but there were 6.
And is
Bayley,
it
Naomi, Bianca, Alexa, and Liv right now.
Oh, wow. I wonder if Roxanne Perez is going to be that choice.
That makes sense. She was at Raw. She was taught John with Bayley.
She was final 2 with Charlotte at Rumble. How do we continue that trajectory? I would love to see her pop up in Toronto for that.
I love how they're doing just a masterful job of getting NXT talent on the Raw and SmackDown products, highlighting them. Yeah, sure, it's to advertise that NXT is in fact happening the next day after Raw.
Check out the CW.
Yeah, and it's like, hey, Bayley is going to be there and doing stuff with. So there's like a lot of different things happening because Bayley was on Vengeance Day, and we had Bayley join with Roxanne Perez on Raw. We often get those shots, but I also am reminded that we thought Braun Breaker was going to get called up like 2 years before he got called up. So what the hell do we know? Tyler, I want to stick with this talk about the women's division. So we know that Jay chose Gunther. Maybe I shouldn't. I probably shouldn't, but I choose you. That was good. That was great. Here's what I want to say. I'm pretty sure Raquel hit Liv with more power bombs than she hit anybody else. Io and Dakota added up. The Oblivion bomb, that's the only way I could describe it. Holy crap. From Liv and Raquel. Incredible. I don't know how Io kicked out. Liv got busted open when Raquel was ragdolling her like a weapon. What I'm saying is, like, I think Liv's tag team partner really hates her because she keeps just slamming her onto people, hitting her face into very sharp gear on Dakota Kai. Stitch's City. Io stomped Liv into the center of the earth. Into the earth, Tyler, before hitting her with the over the moonsault. This tag match ruled. This might be my favorite match of the week. Only because AEW, talking to you, Tony Khan, stupid people at Max. This match ruled. Tyler, what do you hope for the women's tag team matches in that division going forward? And do you include, I'm adding this, and do you include the talent that you just referenced in NXT?
Yes. And the bar has been set. I know it's a very high bar to expect week in and week out, but we were speaking about NXT. If we look at the depth of the main roster and the women's division, there's so much talent, and you only have a limited number of singles titles. So a single star like the aforementioned Io Sky or Liv Morgan, if they're not going to be in a singles title program, what do you do? How do you not just have them toil in obscurity? The tag division. This is what we've been hoping for since its inception with Bayley and the artist formerly known as Sasha Banks. We've known the talents there. It's just been this inconsistency, kind of this seesaw vibe of when are we really going to get behind tag team wrestling in the women's division in WWE? We've had glimpses, but nothing really sustained. This could be that moment. This could be that inflection point to get us where we've been wanting to go for. When were the tag team titles introduced, Brad? 6 years ago. It was pre-pandemic.
Yeah. Yeah, it was a long time ago.
2018?
Yeah, because Bayley...
The Iconics were still there.
Bayley and Sasha were holding those through while they were the golden role models. And
it's almost 10 years. It's got to be close to 10 years. This is setting a high bar, and it's reminding folks, oh no, we're here. And if you give us the right dance partners, if you give us the time on weekly programming, if you have that investment and doesn't just get lost in the shuffle, here's what we can do. Clearly the crowd was receptive to it. Clearly you loved it. You are not alone. This is amazing. All 4 women. Perfect, perfect, perfect. I hope this is the start of something really great that we've been yearning for years now.
It looks like January of 2019.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Maybe not 10 years tomorrow, but
coming
up soon.
Within COVID time. COVID time is like dog years. So
this is true.
We had to go through all the what was I can't even think of the faction. What was the faction?
Retribution.
Thank you.
Yeah, and we didn't even talk about this. NXT Vengeance Day, we have this. They've arrived now, kind of a Shield Retribution like faction. I don't think they have a name yet. I thought it was hilarious. I can't wait for Oba Femi to destroy all of those dudes. And I don't know if you know this, Brad Winchester. I am very high on Oba Femi. He might be my favorite dude in all of wrestling.
Wow.
The strut, all of it's working for me. To answer your question, though, I think a lot of this will hinge on when Jade comes back. What are we doing there? Are we going right into the split of her and Bianca? Do we get a proper run with her and Bianca as champs? And if so, who is going to defeat those two? The only team that can defeat them will be Bianca turns on Jade or vice versa, and then the other team pins them, because I don't know who's going to defeat those two straight up. But you have the titles on a really great team right now. It's Bianca and Naomi. We love them both.
Yeah.
I'm really eager to see when Jade comes back, what happens there, because if they plan to keep Jade and Bianca together for some time, I think we could have some special programs ahead with Raquel and Liv, with Io and Dakota, with name the talented duo.
I'm curious to know if it was Bianca or Naomi that was actually filming the attack. Which one of those two? Who was it? Because it clearly wasn't Liv and Raquel. No. But they're like, it was Liv, it was Raquel. I told you. And it's like, I'm pretty sure Naomi's turning heel when that happens.
My issue is I'd rather have a heel EST.
Me too.
Than a heel Naomi.
Me too.
Am I alone in that?
No, absolutely not. No.
We've been yearning for a heel Bianca for some time now. She loves the kids.
The NXT stuff is amazing.
She's a total role model. We haven't gotten yet a formal extended heel Bianca on main roster since forever.
I don't think she's ever been on the main roster.
We've had teases,
right?
But
yeah. She was a heel in NXT, but I don't think she's been a heel since coming up
for basically her whole time in NXT.
And maybe you keep it that way. Maybe you keep it that way because people were afraid, if it's not broken, don't fix it. But I also think, look what it did for Bayley.
Totally.
She went from the hugger to this, and there's that hugger throwback was funny, but the idea that you can't be like this uber baby face and then be a heel, a detestable heel. No, change it up, because if she decides to go back to that persona at some point, Sami Zayn did that pretty well, from conspiracy theorist to being a part of the bloodline to coming out to his theme in Montreal for the first time in 2+ years to just a thunderous pop. It can work. It'll be fine if they do that. I really need that to happen now. Dang it. I don't know. It'll be really cool when we get to see Jade back, right? Like, Jade back in action is going to be awesome. Speaking of back to action, Tyler, I know that you have a GI at the movies, so let's get into it.
And now it's time for GI at the movies.
That was such a smooth transition. It even caught me off guard. And I've been podcasting with you for years now. Okay, you're right, Brad. You delivered the title of this movie. Back in Action, Netflix's latest action comedy thriller starring Jamie Foxx and Cameron Diaz is the subject of our latest GI at the Movie segment. And stars, or not stars, you already know who it stars. But in terms of the plot, we have two former CIA operatives, Fox and Diaz, who left the game, had 2 kids, and are now back in action, ready to take down new villains. This was bad. Brad, this was so bad. So much so that I fell asleep midway.
Oh
through.
no.
I think this might be a
Oh,
first
no.
for GI at the movies. I didn't even finish it, and I don't feel bad about it whatsoever. It has a 28% Rotten Tomatoes score.
Ooh.
However, and this is really what I want to dedicate this time to, because I really enjoy Jamie Foxx. Certainly have enjoyed Cameron Diaz over the course of her career. It amassed nearly 50 million views on Netflix within its first 3
Wow.
days of being released. Yeah, it came out in mid-January. Finally got the chance to see it. And for me, this is the last point I want to touch on and hear your thoughts on. This movie really underscores or exemplifies Netflix's current business model. Although they're investing big in live sports, which we just talked about, WWE Raw, they continue to produce murder mysteries. They always have Stranger Things in their back pocket and have, other library editions. A large part of Netflix's original appeal, and I would argue still to this day, are these original films with subpar plots, but recognizable movie stars. Some hit, some
Bright
don't.
with Will Smith.
Yeah. There have been and Dwayne The Rock Johnson. We know he's had, what was it, Red Notice?
Oh,
Was
Red
it?
Notice.
You remember
versus,
that? That was
versus Red One, which was on
versus
Amazon
Red
Prime.
One.
Yeah.
Yes. So that is inherently
Red Notice was him and Ryan Reynolds, right?
Right, exactly. It's always been a part of Netflix's business model, and dare I say even charm.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes it works. In the case of Back in Action, it just didn't work for me.
I can't remember the name of it. I'm looking it up right now. There were, I believe, 2 of them. I haven't seen the second one, or maybe it's not out yet. That was it's Extraction, the Chris Hemsworth movie on Netflix.
I've heard of that. Yeah.
I saw the first one. I really liked it. It was a lot of fun. It wasn't like, wow, I would have paid lots of money to go see that in the cinema, but it made me go like, this is really dope. Versus I want to go see Captain America real bad, really, really bad. I love Anthony Mackie. It's Harrison Ford. I'm actually super intrigued by what's going to happen this summer with the Thunderbolts, because Marvel having a Suicide Squad movie feels really cool. It's not like a new idea, but I think it's fresh enough where people are going to be like, yeah, I'm curious to see what Suicide Squad looks like in the MCU. That could be really good. So we'll all show up for the big budget, big studio stuff. When I saw that, and I didn't even know you were doing this. This is an absolute shoot. When I sent you this morning an interview with Jamie Foxx on the Graham Norton show, he just popped up through. I watch a lot of Graham Norton clips, and occasionally I'll tune into the show. One of the best to do it ever in terms of talk shows. I love that setup with the couches, and you have like 4 guests at once and just kind of bounce around the room. I love that setup. Jamie Foxx is big fan of Jamie Foxx. Great actor, hilarious comedian,
Versatile.
Like I was surprised to see him become a movie star, because my association with Jamie Foxx is still being all like crook face, cross-eyed in a dress and in Living Color,
right?
With Jim Carrey and David Allen Greer and Tommy Davidson.
He's come a long way.
And
the come up is real.
J-Lo just being a fly girl in the background. Like,
no, he's getting that BetMGM money, or
yes. Yeah. Yeah.
He's everywhere.
Yeah. And Academy Award nominations, and I think a win, right? For Ray.
Right.
Yeah.
Music
Django,
career.
and
they're still playing Blame It with T-Pain.
Yeah.
Across the country.
Like dude is so multi-talented.
Yeah.
His impersonation of Denzel, interviewing Denzel,
great impersonator.
One of my favorite clips ever.
He had a Netflix stand-up, Jamie Foxx.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
just a few weeks or a few
months
ago.
Not long ago.
Yeah. So again, we're all kind of in that same orbit. I think Cameron Diaz's case is a little more curious because she hasn't
left for a long time.
Yeah, I would say she hasn't popped up.
Soft retired.
Exactly, but she's also had a storied career, one of the most recognizable names in Hollywood. And in the case of this particular script, it just didn't move me. I think that was the issue. I knew what I was signing up for, but the CGI, the dialogue, I just would rather sleep and catch up on that than finish out this movie. But I love both. Man. That's why this was so curious for me, is I'm a big fan of both of these two, and the whole interracial relationship of it all. Obviously, I'm down for that, but this formula didn't quite add up for me.
That's unfortunate, because I really like both of them. Cameron Diaz was the 90s to me. 90s, early 2000s. It was her, it was Heather Graham, it was Halle Berry. It was that whole movie star, that women crew of movie stars. I'm sure I'm leaving people out there, but like those three, Sandra Bullock, it's just Sandra Bullock has sort of like had crazy longevity with her career, from being like pretty much debuting in 94 in Speed and keeping that going all the way throughout. Is pretty remarkable for anybody to be able to pull off. That woman just seems to not age. It's crazy. So, okay, good to know. I'll skip it because I saw it up there and I was like, that looks pretty good. Maybe I'll turn that on because I wanted to watch something. I thought about doing a GI at the movies. It's just such an older movie now. I finally watched Ford versus Ferrari. And
was it good?
Oh, it's awesome. So I was going to rent it. It wasn't streaming anywhere. I have every streaming service known to man, and it's not streaming anywhere. And then I looked and it's like $3.99 to rent it on Apple and Amazon, $4.99 to own it. Anyway, I own it now. So I can watch it whenever. Totally worth the $4.99. Like,
great investment.
Such a good movie. I have no other words. It's really great. True story. Very sad, very happy, all at the same time. But Christian Bale and Matt Damon really brought it in that movie. It's a lot of fun. Now that I give my diet review there, let's move on. Let's review, shall we? I got some reviews for TK here. I'm going to do my best to answer these AEW questions. I am upset, Tyler. So hit me with your question.
Okay, I'll start with the question, and then I'm sure you will add the context that is imperative for our audience to know about how you viewed AEW Grand Slam. Literally,
it's being generous.
Very generous. Okay.
Yeah.
AEW Grand Slam, Australia. I'm just going to totally bypass Dynamite. We are going to be at Dynamite Phoenix, by the way, this Wednesday. Yeah. This is true. But Grand Slam Australia, it restored the feeling for me. I thought the show was incredible from start to finish. This isn't a bit. I loved this entire production. I want to know, and this is where insert Brad context, what or who stood out to you most? I want to talk about it all, but I want to know what stood out to you most. Perhaps what stood out to you most was how you were unable to watch this.
What stood out to me most was
from the clips you saw. I don't mean to laugh at your pain. That's completely out of pocket of me.
I had to watch clips. Correct. I'm even right now. I'm looking through TNT drama, trying to find nothing. It's not on TNT. It's only on TBS now, huh? Okay, so now I got to go on here, and I'm searching. Same landing page, same home pages. TBS, TNT. They're doing a great job there with breaking up their brands. Let's see. AEW Grand. Nothing. Just F me, I guess. Thanks, TBS. You guys are worthless as well. It turns out, Tyler, that unless you have a DVR, or I guess if you set up a VCR somewhere in your house, maybe with some antennas, little rabbit ears back here, that if you don't catch something live, you get to wait 2 weeks to watch the damn show. So Max broadcast this stuff live. Last week, I caught parts of Dynamite live, parts of Collision live, and then I just filled in the blanks. And this week, I worked pretty much 12-hour days every day. Wednesday, we have Future Tiger Night. I did not leave the building until almost 7:45 p.m. after getting there at 7:20 a.m. By the time I got home, and actually I didn't get home. By the time I left, went to the store, sat down and ate my sad frozen pizza. By the time that was over, it was like 9. I was delirious, bleary-eyed, stumbling, felt drunk. Basically, I was just dehydrated. And I went to bed. I crashed, got up, rinse, repeat. That was my whole week. My whole week was like that. Saturday, you know this. You can't confirm. I sent you probably the most exhausted sounding voice memo I've ever sent. On my way out.
This is true. I have the receipts.
I believe it started with, because I was just out of breath, going, I can't believe I'm still here. There's no sunlight. It was like 9 o'clock, past 9 o'clock on my way to the car. And when I got home, I did not know, number one, I did not know that the show was delayed because of the dunk contest. Number two, I thought I could just watch it afterward. If I tune in to Raw on Netflix, when it's done, I just watch Raw on Netflix. I got to wait 2 weeks. I don't know where it's going to be. I don't know if it's in the AEW feed, if it's in the special events feed. I don't know what's happening. All I know is that I cannot access the content I'm paying for. I'm mad about it. Fix it. It sucks. That being said, I got to go Toni Storm beating Mariah May in Australia. I don't like that it was with a roll-up, but because the finish happened really fast.
It did.
And then the delayed response from the crowd kind of told you all you needed to know about the finish. It was just such a delayed response because it was like 1, 2, 3. It just took too long. It's like, you want that punch.
We're getting the rubber match.
Oh, for sure.
Mariah's going to say, you caught me. You did not. You're not the better woman.
Yeah. And it's going to be awesome.
Maybe that's the revolution match. Yeah.
Maybe it's going to be awesome. I caught bits and pieces of other stuff. I saw the countering exchange with Ospreay and Fletcher, and they're going to fight in a steel cage. I saw several other things from the night. I saw Buddy and Okada clips, all really incredible. I cannot wait to watch this. Harley Cameron pulling out the puppet. Harley looks great. Harley looked great.
Shot. Again, let's always put respect on the CEO's name, Mercedes Moné. People were talking crazy a year ago.
Yep.
It's no surprise. People tend to have some of their best matches against Mercedes, just saying. Mm-hmm. But Harley showed up and showed out. Mercedes always understands the assignment. I thought also the Brisbane Brawl was good. It served its purpose.
I saw Jay White going crazy with the kendo, like just teeing off machine gun wax with that.
Did you hear the crowd serenading Adam Copeland?
Yes, that was amazing.
That
what a moment!
How can you not feel
what a moment
seeing that?
Yeah, so
it was a great show, man. Really
I thought the clips were incredible. Thanks for nothing, Max. Thanks for nothing, Turner. Thanks for nothing. I'm sad.
Thanks a lot, Mac McClung. Now 3-time dunk champion. You take a slice of this blame by, sir.
I did see a really funny post on that saying the 3-point contest and the dunk contest set civil rights back 20 years. I thought that was funny.
Oh, dang, that's right, because Tyler Hero.
Yeah.
And then
Miami's own. Miami's only at this point, I think. Yeah, I saw that and I was like, oh my God. It's really funny.
Too,
yeah.
All-Star Saturday is just we have colleagues who speak about this much more eloquently on the network. Shout out all the 19 team. All-Star Saturday it used to be a vibe. It used to be must see. It makes me sad that it's just not that anymore.
I got to tell you, it is. You're watching the wrong product though. This weekend should have been all about and was all about hockey. The Four Nations tournament.
I heard about hockey. That. Yeah, big
all
deal.
The players, huge deal because it's an all-star. So they were doing like the battle of the divisions. So going like all-stars by division, and then those divisions would play each other. So you go, east, west, and then they'd play each other. It was really cool because it was sort of a tournament to see like what division was the best in hockey. This is we're going to divide it up. We got the Canadian team, we got the US team, and the Finnish team. So Canada, US, the game, it's an all-star game, Tyler. And it was played in Canada. The game started with puck drop. 3 seconds in was a fight. Puck dropped, gloves were dropped, fisticuffs time. Matthew Tkachuk in there just throwing haymakers, and the fights weren't exactly going the US's way. They were both hitting each other pretty hard. The first one, Canada got the upper hand a little bit, but the States won. USA 3-1 over Canada. Felt really good to watch that because the day before, maybe justifiably so a little bit, the Canadian crowd was booing the national anthem. So I don't really begrudge them of that after all the stuff that's gone down in the last couple of weeks, but it did feel good to watch the Canadian team kind of punch them literally and figuratively in the mouth. Hockey All-Star Weekend is always the best All-Star version of any All-Star anything. unless I can time travel to the 90s when basketball all-star weekend meant something. And then Kobe brought it back around later. And it's just not been the same for the last, I don't know, 10, 15 years. It's just been kind of meh. So childhood all-star games were so much more fun. They were must-see television. The dunk contest was like, who wasn't like getting home early to make sure you could see it?
It was a thing. Yeah.
And now it's sort of like, oh, I didn't know that happened. Sort of like the home run derby when baseball does its thing.
Right. Great comp.
Like nobody really cares. It's just on. And unless you're a diehard, you're not really paying attention to it.
Right. That's exactly it.
With social media, you can do that. So speaking of social media and media in general, Tyler, my question. If you had the power to control all of television and media, how long would you wait to upload a simulcast broadcast of AEW to the streaming platform that already hosted that broadcast?
This is really your question.
Uh-huh.
I can tell. It has to be instant. I don't know why we need to wait. I don't know if there is a logistical or a business reason. I mean, of course, you want people to tune in live, right? But in the time we're living in now, you got to have that up instantly, especially a show this great. AEW did a phenomenal job. All the talent that we mentioned were incredible in Australia. One of your biggest shows of the year. We want people to see that. It's got to be instant.
I have nothing to add. I agree.
I figured you might.
Still so heated about this.
I figured you might.
How am I going to pay like, what is it? Like $15, $20? I have no idea how much I'm paying for Max. I'm getting it.
Because you're doing ad free too.
I'm doing ad free because I cut the cord because do you know what made the decision easy for me? Being able to get AEW on Max.
Correct.
And then
live comes at you fast.
They took that from me. And now I feel like I need to take something from them. I might steal something at the show this week. We'll see. I might be going home with a pair of $30 Orange Cassidy socks. We'll see. We'll see. Throwback.
I can lend you
years ago. Yeah. Yeah. Very good.
Let me know if you do.
I'm not giving them their, you know what? AEW's been putting out great product lately. Dynamite has been awesome. Collision has happened. Grand Slam sounds like an incredible event. I refuse to give them their flowers, but I'm ready for one for you, Tyler. I need it. Give it to us. It's time for a rose from Tyler. Batch Update City. Play the music.
And now, for a rose from GI's most eligible bachelor.
I don't know that you've ever been this excited for a batch update. This even gave me juice. I was already looking forward to this, but it's just exponentially more excitement now. Okay, this is very good. So, believe it or not, we are only on episode 3 of The Bachelor season 29, Grant Ellis. Here's what you need to know, Brad. There was a group date to kick off this episode. It was kind of a check your financial knowledge gimmick. It was like a very classroom setting. This all playing into the fact that Grant's day job is as a day trader. I still don't even really know what that means, but I know it's a job that exists. There was a celebrity cameo from Daniel Lubetsky of Shark Tank and Kind Snacks fame. I went through a phase years ago where I was into Kind Snacks. I even bought his book from Target in the clearance aisle. Wow. Really good book. Yeah, so he popped up. Someone from Vanderpump Rules popped up. Apparently the lady's really famous, but clearly I've researched her and prepared for this update. I don't know who she is, but she was there. Okay, stars of this episode, and then I'll tell you who's actually getting my rose this time. Carolina had a memorable one-on-one date. You remember her, you and I were both fond of her and thought she could go really far. During this one-on-one date, she had something to tell Grant, and you never really know where that's going. She's like, I have to let him know this because I want to know if he's a real one. And so she shared with Grant that she was diagnosed with epilepsy at 17. And there have been past partners who haven't treated her well, or they've learned that and then, kind of dipped out. So Grant seems really into her and took the news well. And they had, again, a nice romantic one-on-one. This made me think, though, I don't know if I've asked you this so directly. When did you feel you could be, let's say, your most authentic self, or just keyword vulnerable with Jess? Because you and her have a unique situation of you knew each other before you went into that dating phase.
Yeah.
But was there a point you can remember where you thought, okay, I can really give my full self, my authentic self. I can be vulnerable. Was it instantly? Did it take time? What's
That's a great question. I think it was right away. We had Tessa on here. Shout out to Tessa Fry Lawler, excuse me. She said it best, I think. It was, you asked her what I was like in the classroom, and she said pretty much what you get right here. I'm just always kind of like this. Now, I'm not walking around going like, hey, so you know about my ADD, right? Like, that's not how I introduce people to me, going like, I am adopted. I have ADD. I have some crippling pain in my joints because of an autoimmune condition. And how are you? That's not really how this works. But Jess and I would walk around and kind of commiserate. She had a relationship she had gotten out of, and we had been hanging out because of a mutual friend, and it was like, well, you want to go for a walk? Sure, I want to get out of the house. I'm bored. My roommate had moved out. I was living by myself, so I was like, all right, yeah, I'll get out. It's 2 a.m. I can't sleep. You want to watch some old Nickelodeon shows together? And we did. We fired up some Are You Afraid of the Dark? Some Adventures of Pete and Pete. I don't think we ever got around to all that. We just talked about how great the skits were. And then now looking at them now, I'm like, wow, these are really weird skits. It's probably what ruined me. But it was, stuff like that, conversations like that. And then we were just always kind of open with each other because there was no prospective dating each other. Like, that hadn't entered into my mind whatsoever. It was just like, I'm hanging out with this person that's really cool. And that was it. So, being truly vulnerable and letting her in entirely, I'm still working on that part, because I will reveal stuff about myself, about what I'm feeling, if it's not directly involving another person, but I have a really hard time communicating that to that person if it's involving them. So if you made me upset, for example, I would have a hard time going like, hey, I didn't really like this. I'm not happy right now about it. I don't know that I would even tell anybody. I would probably just keep that to myself. But if it's like, I woke up today and my hips hurt a lot, which is true, because I've been going up and down staircases and into vents and doing all this crazy stuff. And it's one of those things where it's like, I don't know if this is time or if this is the autoimmune thing, because I'm not in bad shape, but I'm not in great shape. And I wonder those things. And then I'm like, do I bring it up? Because I'll start limping and not even realize I'm limping. I just know it hurts. And kids will be like, are you okay? And I'm like, well, what do I say? Yeah, I'm fine is pretty obviously a lie. When I'm limping, I have to go like, yeah, my hips hurt right now. And then it's like, oh, that's weird. Why would my hips hurt? Why am I telling this 16-year-old about my sore hips? I'm 42. So it just doesn't really fit. It doesn't make sense. So trying to be authentic with somebody that I'm dating, easy. Trying to be authentic with somebody I'm dating about them, really difficult. And I've been married for a long time now, and it's still difficult. So really great question. Difficult one to answer, because I don't know that I've ever not been just me. I'm always me with everybody. The only difference is when you start dating, you hold in your farts more.
I have no transition from that other than
Yeah.
to say I appreciate your vulnerable, authentic response, my friend.
Appreciate
Okay,
it.
that's good to know. It certainly worked well for Carolina being up front. I think she's definitely someone who's going to stay for several weeks with Grant, although she is beefing with Rose, and it was teased that we may see more of that this week. So maybe Carolina is getting a villain arc along with Zoe, my only remaining Final Four prediction. We'll see what happens. My rose this week goes to Parisa. She did really well on this episode. Some chemistry with Grant, which I did not see coming. I don't think Parisa's making it to hometowns. I don't think she's a Final Four selection, but she got a rose. She got time on screen, and I love that for her. Very quickly, Brad, Allie, Joe, Chloe, and Bailey were all eliminated. Beverly is gone due to illness.
That's
there's
unfortunate.
there's a lot happening.
Insurance in a relationship.
I still think Latia and Juliana are front runners. We know Grant is adverse to drama. There's a lot to keep an eye on this week. You know, I will keep you posted. And finally, news came out. It was revealed that there will be no Bachelorette in 2025. The franchise announced it will not be happening this year.
Whoa.
So we will see what's to come. We know we got this season. We got Paradise probably fitting in a Golden, and then maybe they'll come back in 2026.
Do you think it's because it was so terrible?
There's been a bad run. Yeah, and there's been talk amongst Batch Nation that maybe production isn't in love with any of Grant's contestants, because usually someone from this season would lead the next. There's a lot of speculation, but I think if we look at the recent track record, it hasn't ended well for a lot of the leads in The Bachelorette.
Yeah.
The old saying goes, absence makes the heart grow fonder, not only in relationships, in television. I think this is actually a good move to reassess what do we want Bachelorette to be in 2026. I'm here for it, actually.
I also think that like they could get away from the classic TV model. I don't know why network television still feels like they're beholden to having to release a series schedule like on a consistent rotating basis. Maybe it's just we have to fill the void with content so we can keep advertisers to keep the lights on, and that's what they're doing. But like, I don't know, come up with another creative show. Only do The Bachelor. So instead of doing like this one, do an extended season and dig more deeply into The Bachelorette and do a 6-month thing, or instead of doing it like what they do where they're just like rat-a-tat-tatting out Bachelor, Bachelorette, Golden Bachelor, Golden Bachelorette, Bachelor in Paradise, Bachelor in Space, Bachelor Fight. Like, I don't know what's happening. There's just too many products.
Facts. They churn them out. Yep.
Yeah, it's starting to feel like what people started talking about was superhero fatigue, when it's like we got another Marvel movie and another one and another one and another one, and now it's like nobody. Anthony Mackie did Winter Soldier, was in, I'm pretty sure, in Ultron, was in Ant-Man, was in Infinity War, Endgame, Civil War, and I'm probably missing one now. And now this one, plus Falcon and the Winter Soldier. That is 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 different products. And 8 of them were films. And people are still going, well, that's a DEI hire for Captain America for his own movie. It's like the man did 9 movies essentially to get to this point. 8 movies and a TV show to transition out to go like, why would I want to be Captain America? I can't live up to it. Even tries to get rid of it and then realizes, no, I am the right person for this job. Steve was right. And then people were like, they're just doing it because they want to see a black guy be Captain America. And I'm like, what? He earned this. So like the culture is just so toxic now with everything, even if it's just silly nonsense. My goodness. But I think part of it is also like, we've been hit with a lot of superhero movies, and I think people just assume they're going to be bad. And if you have 1 or 2 bad seasons of The Bachelor, you kind of have to, or Bachelorette, you kind of have to then assume that the rest are going to be bad because it's become something. I also think there's something to say when something becomes expected and rehearsed, that you can get into a place where it's rehearsed and expected in a bad way. And then you get this culture of we have to make it this way. And then nothing works out because the culture is toxic. The culture is bad. We know from insiders that it's not always a pleasant shoot or a pleasant production all around that happens on The Bachelor, Bachelorette, Golden Bachelor, these productions behind the scenes. So, you wonder how many people are trying to get on TV because they're pretty, or because they think they can make a career out of having a face that's recognizable and get into acting in movies. And they're only there for the name recognition and face recognition and not actually to find love and have an experience. They're there to get famous. And of course that marriage is going to end really quickly and miserably. So I don't know how you fix this. I just feel like they do it in a lazy, predictable way at the network that will, of course, lead to this falling apart in the age of streaming services. Man.
Yeah. This won't be our last conversation. Rest assured, Batch is in, they're always in a perpetually tenuous position. But I think a lot of this hinges on how does the rest of Grand season play out? Because again, we know the first time we tried this, Matt James, and this, I mean, having a black bachelor, which all of us were excited for when Matt James was announced. That season ended up being a dumpster fire for many reasons, many reasons. I think batch and production miscalculated so much. I think a lot of this will again hinge on how do the next few weeks play out. Paradise is Paradise. It's not for me, but a lot of people are into it. And then Golden, if and when I expect them to run Golden Bachelor back, we know how that ended. Also toxic. Who do they choose? Who is the lead? What cast do they provide? They have some big questions to answer, as you pointed out, and I'm eager to see what they do the rest of this year.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see. I feel like they could probably change it up, change the format, and keep one of the Bachelor. Maybe they move the Bachelorette property to Hulu. It's ABC, correct?
Yeah, it is.
So
and there's Disney, and there's competition now more than ever. There's the Later Daters on Netflix, which I quite enjoyed.
Well, Later Daters, Love is Blind,
Love is Blind,
all kinds of stuff. Married at First Sight. There's all kinds of reality dating shows.
There's more competition now than 10 years ago, let's say, when Batch was really the main player in town. Now people have so many more options. And I think part of the thinking may be, oh, snap, we need to really up our game and maybe freshen this up, just like you said.
Yeah, there's a lot of reality competition shows out there between the British Bake Off and, Chopped and all kinds. There's like all these food shows. And then Jess has the Hallmark Plus gimmick, and there's a show on there for the next Hallmark star, and
go Jess.
Very, very much the same thing. And when I watched it, I told you legitimately, like, I think you would have loved this show, the way they had to do this competition. It felt very batch for some reason, but it was good. Tyler, we covered a lot of ground here, positively, negatively, all points in between. What did we miss?
We do. I have several points on this one. So first, going back to our wrestling talk, shout out to friend and former guest. Actually, he'll be on next weekend. George Romero, the birthday guy. Happy birthday, George. George said there should be a new takeover angle with the NXT women's roster versus the main roster. Very interesting, George. I like your thinking there. And then voice of GI, Alf Bergeson, with regard to our AEW conversation, he enjoyed AEW Grand Slam Australia, and especially for it being a freebie. I agree, Alf. It was definitely giving pay-per-view vibes. Okay, Brad, some other key points before I pass it to you. What did we miss? Arizona Wildcats, men's basketball. I know the women's game is happening as we record, but the men's game was yesterday. It was a vibe in McHale, at least from what I could see from my TV screen, but they lost to Houston. Brad, Houston men's basketball has now become that low-key arch rival who is just always good, always grit, always scrappy, and just always seems to win close games. So I didn't realize, historically there's been ASU, UCLA, some other foes, but Houston is really emerging, whether it's March Madness or during the regular season now being a part of the Big 12. They are just really good, really well coached, and they know how to win on the road. U of A lost, but I still think there's reason to be hopeful for them come March. They don't necessarily shoot the three very well, but they've shown some toughness and some resilience and an ability to really bounce back. So I'm eager to see how they close the season, and then as we prepare for the big dance. Final 2 points, going back to wrestling, Josh Alexander is rumored to be heading to AEW. I think we need to credit Fightful Select on that. We'll see what happens. I think he's going to be great wherever he goes. And then finally, on a music note, Brad Winchester, I need you to remember this name, Jaslyn Martin. She has a new single out. I think she's next up in the R&B scene. She plays Jackie on Peacock's Bel Air. I just love Jaslyn Martin. I think she's such a talent. And I think she's going to become a household name sooner than later. New single, Have It Your Way. R&B heads out there. Check out Jaslyn. She's got next.
Tyler, according to Cage Match, Sami Zayn and Kevin Owens / Steen have wrestled 100 times each other in various combinations, not just singles, but they have wrestled either in a singles, trios, fatal 4-way, fatal 5-way, whatever, 100 times. They might have accidentally put up the wrong numbers on Cage Match, though, because there's a guy named El Generico that floats around in that list a little bit. Just got to see one of my favorite comedians and writers, Zach Anner, I love Zach Anner. You have probably heard me talk about him, but maybe you don't remember him. Zach has cerebral palsy. He's hilarious. If you look up on the YouTubes, Workout Wednesday, Zach Anner, incredible stuff. Follow his channel, support his causes. He's awesome. She got to see him speak at a conference, and I guess he was hilarious. As expected, I love it. He's an advocate for accessibility and is just genuinely really, really, really funny. Check out the YouTube page. Lots of incredible stuff in there. Ricky Starks debuted in WWE within 8 seconds of his release from AEW. It was like Ricky Starks is released next day of, I can't remember, but he showed up in NXT, and you texted, it was like, I wonder if he shows up in NXT, and it was like prophetic. Logan Paul is really good at wrestling. Not everybody likes that, but Logan Paul, he's really good at wrestling. LA Knight and his mental health promo, I thought was something that I needed to bring up on here. I thought it was really cool. He just stopped he also crapped on Drew during that same time, but like legitimately addressing that it's okay to feel and it's okay to cry. I thought that was really important stuff. And from like maximum macho guy, I feel like that was really cool. Nice little moment. And then of course, USA beat Canada in the Four Nations.
Well said. Brad, this has been great. It's always great, but this one felt really good. Thank you all so much for joining us. We know last week there was amazing reception to our episode, and we are so thankful, so appreciative, so dare I say grateful for all of you who listen and watch and comment and text every single week. It truly, truly means the world to Brad and I. We hope you have a great week. We hope this episode brought you some laughter. We'd love to hear what you think about everything pro wrestling and pop culture. Leave us a comment here on YouTube. You can find us on social media at GIPod19, and we will see you next week. Gimmick Infringement is a part of 19 Media Group. You can listen to us on Apple, Spotify, iHeartRadio, or wherever you find podcasts. You can also find us on YouTube via the 19 Media Group channel. Please like, subscribe, comment, and share.